Hello and welcome to Beer Reactions. I'm Jono.
And I'm Paul, and we're back after a long time away. How long's it been, Jono?
Oh, 17 squillion years in stasis.
Listen, I can't even remember how long it is, and I'm feeling like things are dragging on a bit.
It is, yeah.
It's getting harder and harder and harder. But what could possibly make it better?
To be honest, I didn't even recognise you when you walked in.
Yeah, I know. It's my youthful good looks.
I think you've lost a few stone as well, haven't you, since as well? Whereas I've gained it. And just to prove that we are doing this fully legally. Are you ready?
Yes, right, okay.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready?
Is it 2 metres?
I've actually sterilised the end of this as well. I've
okay.
sterilised my end.
I don't want to know about this. Right, okay, let's see.
Are you ready? Look at this.
How far's that?
Right.
Is that 2 metres?
To my mouth here, that is exactly 200 centimetres.
Excellent. We're legal.
We're legal.
The show can go on.
We're good to go.
Let's do it.
Right then. So,
okay, so what have we got today?
We are going to do a Yorkshire Special.
Yorkshire beer. Oh, I don't know about this. He's a Yorkshire lad.
I'm a Yorkshire lad, yeah. I'm a Yorkshire lad. I know you're not. You're a Scot.
I'm a Scottish lad. So,
I think for any Yorkshire Special, there's only one thing you can do, and that's don. Don the old flat cap. And suddenly, when you put your flat cap on, that sounds a bit more Yorkshire. There's one for you as well there, Paul. Look at that.
So what happened to your granddad? Is he under here too?
There. Now that will look champion.
So
now.
what do I need to say in my flat cap?
You can say Eyup.
Eyup.
Sither.
Eyup, sither.
Eyup, sither. Reet. What we're going to be doing this week, knaws, we are going to be looking at two independent, family-owned breweries from Yorkshire.
Okay, so we're talking about modern, hop-forward beers.
Possibly.
Ooh, this is interesting.
Well, we'll just have to wait and see.
Okay.
So what we're going to be looking at, there are two specifically big breweries that I think most people across the UK. We're still trying to do this thing in lockdown, where we're trying beers that everybody might have access to. Now these two beers that we're going to be trying tonight, you can get all over the UK. Checked it out; they're available everywhere. But they're still owned by
all supermarkets.
Yeah, most supermarkets have them. You can buy them online from the actual breweries as well.
Right. Okay.
So they're really easily available. Both been going for a long time, these breweries, both family-owned breweries. One of them, North Yorkshire, one of them, West Riding of Yorkshire.
Okay.
And I think on that note, we should just unveil the ale.
Okay, let's unveil the ale.
I tell you what, you go first, I can stand back, you can reach in.
Right, okay, good, right, okay, so, right.
There you go.
Okay, your turn.
So what we've got here, well, do you want to say?
Well, it's a Yorkshire Special, isn't it?
It's a Yorkshire Special.
So we've got, now, I'll tell you about this one first. This is Timmies Landlord, classic pale ale. Jono, what's the other one?
The other one is Black Sheep.
Okay.
Black Sheep Ale.
Okay, brilliant. Timothy Taylor Landlord is a beer from Timothy Taylor, the brewery, and they are an old family-owned brewery. It's a brewery that was established by Timothy Taylor.
Indeed.
In 1858.
Oh,
so what's that?
150 odd, 60,
20
70
years ago, something like that. Yeah, 170 years ago, something like that. So, and they're from Keighley.
Keighley.
What was it?
Keighley.
It's not got a T in it.
No, it doesn't matter, it's Keighley.
What? Did you do this just to wind me up? I was thinking Keighley, as in Marillion.
As in Marillion.
It's
no.
It's Keighley.
It's pronounced Keighley.
See, you've just done this to wind me up, haven't you?
No, it's definitely Keighley.
Okay,
People from Keighley, write in and let us know. Is it Keighley or is it Keighley?
Seriously, what else am I going to learn tonight? Every day's a school day. So it's a former mill town in Bradford, which of course is in West Yorkshire. Now they brew beers with the principle of not settling for second best.
Okay,
that's their goal. And Timothy Taylor's Landlord is actually 5 times winner of the gold prize for the champion beer of Britain.
Wow.
So it's like the beer that cannot be beat. Okay, so it's a classic pale ale with complex citrus and hoppy aromas. That's what the beer tells us. But in terms of ingredients, it's got one malt, it's got Golden Promise, that's it. So it's going to be quite a malty beer, which I know Jono quite likes. And in terms of hops, it's got Styrian Goldings, and Fuggles. So generally speaking, quite traditional English ale.
It is.
Hops. So the aroma, they say, is going to be citrusy, hoppy, fruity, and the flavour is going to be full and sweet with the lingering hops.
Wow.
But as I said earlier, I've got kind of low expectations because it's quite a long time since I've drunk beer of this nature, but I might be really surprised and think, wow, why have I stopped drinking this kind of ale? Expectations, I'm expecting it to be a bit old school. I'm expecting it to be a bit light brown maybe, and I'm thinking it's a bit brown, like an old brown jacket that you might have in the back of your wardrobe or something like that. So that's pretty damning, isn't it? That's quite a horrible thing to say.
Yeah, you're not selling
really,
it to me.
I'm not really selling it, but I'm hoping to be pleasantly surprised.
Well, the only thing that I'd say to that is the beer that I brew that's called Bladnoch Brownie is my version.
Is it really?
It's not a clone. I'm not saying it's a clone.
Is it really?
But I tried to do one that was very similar, simply because Timothy Taylor's Landlord is my wife's favourite beer.
Oh, I'm sorry, Judith. Right.
No. So the creation of the Bladnoch Brownie
was based on Timothy Taylor's.
Based around Timothy Taylor, so it's got a lot of same Golden Promise, Fuggles, Styrian Goldings.
Well, I really like you the Bladnoch Brownie. It's a cracking beer.
I'm hoping that because of that you might like Timothy Taylor.
Okay, good. I'm really looking forward to it. Good. Tell us a little bit about Black Sheep.
Right, okay, Black Sheep. Now, it's very similarly, Black Sheep has got a good history behind it. In 1992, as a 5th generation brewer in his family, the world famous Theakston's brewery, Paul Theakston chose to leave the Theakston's brewery following its sale to a national brewery. Instead, he set up his own. He wanted to keep the tradition of making independent, family-owned beers. So he built a brewery of his own in the same town of Massam in North Yorkshire. This was Black Sheep Brewery. Black Sheep's now one of the most well-respected and well-known family-owned independent breweries in the UK. And like a few other old traditional breweries in Yorkshire, Black Sheep Brewery still uses the old Yorkshire Square fermentation system.
Right, okay. I don't know what that is. You're going to have to tell me what that is, John.
Now, it's really worth looking at. If you're interested in brewing, it's worth looking online at what a Yorkshire Square is. And I know that breweries like Samuel Smith's in Tadcaster also use the Yorkshire Square system, and theirs are built of stone, so it's really interesting looking at them. Basically what they are, a Yorkshire Square, it's a big open-topped fermentation vessel.
Okay.
Right?
A square vessel?
Yeah, the square.
Okay.
Not always though, and I think traditionally they were square, but they still call it Yorkshire Square even if they're round. But see, it's an open-top vessel with a walled deck above it. From there, they have their own strain of yeast, and as the yeast ferments the wort and the yeast head rises, so the krausen rises, it flows out onto the walled deck above, separating the beer from the yeast.
Oh, right, okay.
Right. It also enables the brewer then to rouse the beer, and they do that by pulling the fermented wort from the bottom of the tank and spraying it top.
Right, okay.
It's a very unusual way of fermenting, but it keeps it circulating round and round and round as it ferments.
So is that a really old?
It's an old-fashioned way of fermenting beer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And evidently this results in a very clean, refreshing dry beer, which is a trait of true traditional Yorkshire ales.
Okay.
Now, Black Sheep, it's an amber beer. It's got a rich fruity aroma. It's brewed using golden hops, and it has a bittersweet malty taste with a long, dry and bitter finish. Now, they said that they use masses of hops with an orange fruit and roast coffee taste to get that flavour, and it's 4.4 ABV.
Okay. Landlord's pretty similar. I think it's 4.3.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So it's bittersweet in the mouth with the dry finish, packed with fruity notes and Goldings hops. So it's got malted barley, water, wheat and hops. Don't know what other hops are in it, Goldings being the main one.
Okay. So I think I started off thinking this was going to be quite a dull episode. I wasn't so excited about these beers, but actually, having heard Jono speaking about them, and having been almost embarrassed by my own description of Landlord, I'm actually quite excited now about what these beers might taste like.
Well, that's right, yeah. And as I think I said earlier on, if you're interested in brewing, it's well worth looking into some of these beers because they have different methods of brewing them. So,
shall we?
Let's get pouring.
Let's get pouring.
Shall we do the Landlord first?
Let's do the Landlord. Shall we open this together on three?
I think we're better. On three. 1, 2.
Oh, a little genie.
Yeah, there's a little genie coming out there. That's nice.
Okay.
That's nice. Okay.
So beer reactions pour.
Very gentle pour. Very gentle. Very gentle. Very gentle.
Okay. Gosh,
grand.
Good. Wow, that's a big pint of beer. It's actually been, because of lockdown, it's actually been quite a long time since I've had like a whole pint of beer. Particularly now, drinking a lot of cans that are 330 mils, you know.
Yeah, I've noticed that supermarket beers now.
And I've kind of got used to drinking 330 mils as a can, and particularly 330 mils in one of these tasting glasses, or sorry, glasses that really allow you to catch the aroma of the beer with quite a big head. And actually I find that's a really nice way to drink one of those sort of small tins of beer.
Indeed. Well, there's back on pints now,
right,
lad.
okay, well, Jono, so
the smell.
Let's say Swange, but of course what do you say in Yorkshire?
Cheers.
Just cheers.
Alright. Now then.
Alright. Okay, so aroma, so I think
it's quite malty. There is some hop there, though.
It's definitely very malty. I'm just looking back to my notes. It said citrus, hoppy, and fruity.
There is definitely a hoppiness there. Definitely.
For me, and mostly it's that kind of biscuity smell. Actually,
Yeah.
I'm getting from it.
I'm just going to bring this up to the camera just so you can have a look at that. That's a nice looking pint, I think.
What I did notice on the website actually was they recommended drinking it at sort of 10 to 12 degrees, and actually I think this is probably about 3 or 4 degrees. It's really quite cold.
I think it's probably more than that.
Is it?
Those fridges are set about 6 and 7,
Oh,
so
are they?
which is the ideal beer storing temperature. So
okay,
right,
so
so
let's get a wee taste.
it's got a bitterness to begin with straight away, but there is that sweetness there. There's a sweetness.
Definitely sweet, and that sweet biscuitiness is really quite strong and powerful, but in a good way, in a nice way.
It's nice.
Yeah.
And actually, at the end of it, there you do get like a lemony sort of citrusiness right at the back. That lingering, it's like a tartness just at the end.
Yes, there is a lemony at the end. Almost like an it's not quite grassy, but there is a greenness to that lemony taste, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. It's got leafiness about it.
Yeah, yeah.
So what does that think to that first Yorkshire pint, lad?
Like, I wasn't particularly just not that I wasn't looking forward to it. I'm just thinking, in terms of the kind of styles of beer I drink these days, I definitely wouldn't go for a beer like this. If I might buy a beer like this for my father-in-law if he was coming round.
These are traditional in a modern style.
But so is I mean, this beer has been winning Champion Beer of Britain since the early 1990s, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So what I didn't look on the website was to find out how long this beer's actually been brewed for. So for how long? It's certainly not since 18.
It's not. I think it's somewhere
58.
1950, something like in 50s, 1960. It might be. Give us a message if you know the answer to that. Does it not say on the bottle? You don't think it does? 1952.
Spot on, Jono. So actually, it's actually a really nice beer. I'm going to have to eat my hat actually, because it is actually It's not a bad beer at all.
So
Yeah, it's got quite a clear, crisp flavour to it as well. So there's that biscuitiness, but actually, it's quite refreshing as well.
It's a crisp, refreshing
And
time.
what I didn't mention in the introduction was that there's actually sugar in the ingredients list as well, and sugar does tend to ferment to add a dryness to beer, and I think that's probably what's coming through there.
It gives it a really nice crispness.
So John, shall we try this Black Sheep Ale then?
I think we should try the Black Sheep Ale, yeah. Just to reiterate, Black Sheep, I think this is Black Sheep's flagship ale.
Okay.
Fermented in a Yorkshire Square fermenter, which I explained earlier on. See, and they say it gives it sort of a long, dry, bitter finish. So make it a bit crisp and a bit dry. So.
Any sugar in this one?
No, don't say so.
Okay.
So,
right, okay.
on 3 again. 1, 2. Oh, yeah, nice.
That's genie on that one.
Very nice genie.
Okay.
Oh, it's put more genie pouring out here.
Oh, look at that. It's really nice. Really nice. Nice glass.
I think it's a bit darker than the Landlord.
Well, let's just bring that Landlord back out. Let's see. Let's give it, yes, it is a little bit darker than the Landlord's.
Yeah, that's a slightly paler gold.
It is. Okay.
So let's have a sniff. So it looks good, it looks well conditioned.
Looks cracking.
Now I'm getting a more toffee sort of smell from that. Like cinder toffee.
I think your nose is better developed or bigger than mine.
It must be the flared nostrils.
I'm getting a biscuity smell from it.
Again, any particular brand of biscuit?
Hovis. Is it Hovis biscuits?
Yeah, I can see what you mean there. Sort of like a wheaty sort of malty. But there is a bitterness behind. There's a slight bitterness.
It's interesting. I think with these beers in general, the aroma is less strong with kind of than modern beers, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the hop aroma isn't there as much as the flavour. It comes through in the flavour.
That's right. Should we get in there and give this a taste?
This will go.
Cheers.
That has got a dark. It is a richer, sweeter flavour.
Oh, that is Oh, that's quite a contrast to the other beer, isn't it? It's got a really.
There's a dryness there and a astringence almost, but it's almost like you've eaten a piece of cinder toffee or something like that, and then you get that oranginess.
It's definitely a bit more bitter. There's certainly more bittering hops in this beer than there is in the last beer. But the complexity of the flavours there's more complexity in the flavours in this beer than there was in the last beer. I think
I would agree. Yeah, there's a greater depth of experience that you're getting on your tongue there. There's that bitterness, and there's that cinder toffee sweetness. Then there's that orangey sort of, like an orangey oil flavour at the back of it, and then it goes back into that bitterness again at the end.
Oh, I definitely say that's a I was going to say a more satisfying beer to drink. Is that the right phrase? There's just more going on in that beer.
There is.
The condition's really nice, but you're right. There's toffee. There's biscuitiness, but there's bitterness. And actually, now that I look back to the Landlord beer, I don't recall it being particularly bitter.
No.
The kind of overwhelming flavour was the kind of biscuitiness and the dryness, I think.
Yeah.
Whereas there's definitely a bit more going on here.
I think you're right. Yeah. Yeah.
So scores on the doors then. So which beer are we going to score first?
Timothy Taylor's. Do you want to have a quick?
Oh yeah, give us a
quick reminder.
Okay. I
I like that. I like Timothy Taylor's. I like
interestingly now,
Timothy
funny coming back to it because there is a bitterness.
There is a bitterness. It's different though.
Yeah, it's almost bitterness on a different part of my tongue. I know that sounds quite strange.
No, it don't. It doesn't. It's unlike it. There's a different scale in it, and it's bitter for different reasons. Whether it's because of the fermentation process, or when they've put the hops in, or something like that, it creates a different bitterness at a different point in the taste process. And I think that is a late bitterness. The other one has a bitterness to begin with, overriding that sweetness, and then it develops back to bitter again. But that, to me, I think it's tops.
Okay, tell you what, Timothy Taylor, going to give you a 5.
Okay.
Black Sheep, going to give you a 7.
Okay. Timothy Taylor, 8. Black Sheep, it's close, 7.5.
What, you're giving Timothy Taylor more than the Black Sheep?
Yeah.
Oh man, 7.5.
The only reason it's half a point off for the Black Sheep is the cinder toffiness. I mean, I don't know if it is that. There is a toffee sweetness there. That it's just there's slight too much of it for me. I think I prefer. I'm not saying I don't like that, because I do.
Yeah.
I really do like it, but out of the two beers, I prefer the Timothy Taylor.
Okay.
Maybe it's because I'm from West Yorkshire.
So what's that? So 5 and 8. That gives us 13.
I'm doing this. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
I've only got 10 fingers. That gives us 13 for Timothy Taylor's Landlord. We had a 7 and a 7.5.
14.5.
Gosh.
So there's not much in it really.
Not
Point
much
and a
in
half.
it. They're both pretty good beers, and
that's a very good beer in my opinion.
do you know, Jono's right in that the authenticity that comes with a beer is, beers are you can enjoy a beer much more in the place, not necessarily the place where it was brewed, but in
I think into the atmosphere that it'll brew
place that it comes from.
Yeah, there's a lot of heritage.
Right, if you were in Yorkshire, if you were in Keighley, then a pint of Landlords would be absolutely spot on. And I know that I've spent some time in the White District and had a couple of pints of Black Sheep, and it's been great. So both really, really, really good beers.
Beautiful beers. Really nice.
Good.
So Tim Taylor's Black Sheep, top job, as expected from me really. I know Paul were a bit doubtful, but as expected from me, both top beers.
So if you are going to the supermarket every week and you are looking at the fanciest can with the fanciest artwork, maybe get yourself a Timothy Taylor, maybe get yourself a Black Sheep, and remind yourself what beer used to be like back in the day, because it ain't all that bad.
It's good. In fact, it's won so many prizes. It proves it ain't all that bad.
Yeah.
These beers go all over the world ultimately, and they're not from big conglomerate breweries. It's still an independent, family-owned breweries.
That's right.
So I think on that note,
good, excellent. Well,
looking forward to seeing you again soon.
Yeah. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Ting.